Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jenny, and today I will present my research proposal. The topic of my research is tourist demand and willingness to pay for personal interpretative service, a case of Lugang historic areas. Here's the content of my presentation. The first part is the introduction, followed by literature review, methodology, and suggestions from committee members. There are 4 parts in my introduction: the research background, Lugang, statements of problem, and purposes of research. Okay, according to Orbasli, distinct benefits of historical tourism include the potential of a clean industry and a valuable source of income and employment. Interpretation allows visitors to generate a better understanding of the history and the significance of events, people, and the objects with which the site is associated. Therefore, interpretation is one of the key factors to a sustainable tourism. According to Tourism Bureau in 2008, nearly 91% of the citizens traveled at least once domestically in 2007, and the average number of trips per person was 5.57. However, the number of tourists who have visited historic sites in 2008 was only 5% of the total number of tourists who have visited the principal scenic spots in Taiwan. The lack of tourists visiting historic sites is in contrast with the abundance of historic resources in Taiwan. There are currently a total of 699 historic monuments and 767 historical buildings in Taiwan. And the possible reasons for the lack of tourists visiting historic sites may be due to the absence of knowledge of such monuments, or the lack of understanding of the importance or the background of these sites. Therefore, raising the awareness of the significance of these resources and encourage the motivation to visit these sites are in need to increase visitors, which in turn can improve the local economy and encourage preservation. Okay, now I will introduce the study site Lugang. Around 200 years ago, Lugang was the second largest city in Taiwan. However, due to the silting of the harbor and the conservative residents' refusal to construct railways and highways led to the decline of the economy. However, it's this conservation, too, that had allowed for the preservation of many traditional features in Lugang, which include local folk celebrations, traditional handicrafts, and temple carvings and architecture. Also, there is 1 primary historic heritage, 6 tertiary heritage sites, and 7 sites designated by the county as valuable heritage sites. And the abundance of cultural essences in Lugang allows Lugang to become one of the most important historic towns in Taiwan. According to the survey of visitors to the principal scenic spots in Taiwan by month, more than 481,000 tourists visited Lugang in 2008. And if a portion of these tourists is willing to pay for personal interpretative service, a considerable amount of revenue can be generated, which can be used for the management and maintenance of these historical sites. Only few of the past studies have examined the need for interpretative services and the value of these services to visitors in heritage sites. By probing the visiting patterns and the perceptions of the tourists, more could be considered to increase satisfaction and may also further increase revisitation. Therefore, the purposes of this research is to use the contingent valuation method to elicit the willingness to pay of the tourists for personal interpretative service in Lugang, and to analyze the determinants with the application of a double hurdle model. There are also 4 parts in my literature review: interpretative service, contingent valuation method, determinants of WTP, and the double hurdle model. Interpretation is an educational activity which aims to reveal meanings and relationships to people about the places they visit and the things they see, which in turn improves the quality of visitor experience. The goal of interpretation is to increase visitor awareness, promote learning, appreciation, and understanding of places so that people develop empathy towards heritage, conservation, culture, and landscape. And interpretation services can benefit both the heritage sites and tourists, and draw public support by enhancing visitors' experiences and educating visitors in appropriate behaviors to conserve the historical sites. And there are mainly 2 types of interpretative services. First type is personal or attended, and the other one is non-personal or unattended. And these are the examples of each. And this study will only focus on personal interpretative service due to several benefits. First, it can be tailored to meet diverse audience needs. Also, it allows for more interactions, and it's more entertaining and memorable. And interpreters can report to the management if there's any problems or concerns before they become critical. Okay, Maslow in 1970 developed a hierarchy of needs, which is represented as a pyramid. And the needs must be satisfied in a given order from bottom up. For instance, the physiological needs must be satisfied in order for one to be concerned about the safety needs, and so on and so forth. And notice that self-actualization needs are on the top of the pyramid. And participation in a recreational activity is a way to achieve self-actualization. Often when tourists arrive at a destination, they have the desire to understand local culture and to fulfill their educational needs. And this in turn generates the demand for interpretative services. Okay, this study will apply the contingent evaluation method, which is the standard approach to measuring economic values of non-market goods, such as recreational resources, wildlife, and environmental quality goods.